Hello, everyone, and a very warm welcome to my podcast, Don't Get a Therapist Yet. Today, we are going to be talking about dopamine because often people talk about dopamine as if it's a magic happiness juice or dopamine hits or dopamine detox or I'm addicted to dopamine. But dopamine isn't the pleasure chemical people think it is. It's much more about learning and a motivational signal, and understanding it properly can really help you to change your work habits, your focus, and most of all, your mood. So in this episode, we're going to cover what dopamine really is, what it's meant to do, i.e., motivation, learning, and follow through, common dopamine problems such as compulsive habits, novelty chasing, wired but tired loops. I'm sure you're all aware of that. Some evidence strategies to get the best out of dopamine and a structure of how you can use it. We'll start with what is dopamine. Dopamine is called a neurotransmitter. And what that means simply, it's a chemical messenger. It helps the brain learn what matters and how to allocate effort. One of the most important ideas in dopamine science is the reward prediction error, the better or worse than expected signal that helps your brain update what to repeat but what to avoid. Putting another way, dopamine helps your brain to view experiences as either important, to learn from them, and decide what to pursue next. Isn't that interesting? So dopamine shows up in motivation, learning, attention, and goal-directed behavior. How good is that? What is dopamine meant to do? So if you think of dopamine as your brain's training system, in a healthy system, dopamine supports effort towards meaningful rewards, e.g. practicing a skill, building a habit. Consistency, repeating again and again and again and again what helps you. Follow through, sticking with goals, even if they're not instantly rewarding. I think that's a very, very amazing thing. Sticking with goals, even when they're not instantly rewarding. If we could get better at that, how much better would our lives be? What do you think about that? So dopamine is excessively responsive when rewards are uncertain or variable. That's interesting as well. So when you don't know what you'll get next, that is brilliant for learning, but it is also why scrolling, refreshing, checking, just one more behaviors can feel so gripping. What are the problems we have with dopamine? So when you repeatedly train your brain with fast, unpredictable rewards, such as feeds, notifications, quick wins, it starts to prefer those over slower rewards, deep work, reading, long-term goals. Problem number 2, motivation crash after constant stimulation. If this is you, if your days are packed with high novelty input, everyday life can actually feel flat. Not because you're broken, but because your brain is learning to expect frequent, important signals. Next problem, dopamine chasing can become avoidance. So many dopamine-driven behaviors aren't about joy. They're about escaping discomfort, such as boredom, anxiety, loneliness, or self-doubt. The behavior works short term, you get that little bit of a joy, a little bit of a fix, but then it costs you longer term because you are escaping from these states rather than dealing with them. Problem number 4, dopamine, and just add a little dabble of stress chemistry, wired but not tired. Dopamine doesn't act alone. Under stress, your body can move into threat mode. Vigilance, scanning everything, feeling really tense. There's often a mix of stress hormones and arousal systems such as cortisol and noradrenaline patterns. In that case, checking and scrolling can feel urgent and hard to stop. Can you relate to that? I can. Concentration fragmentation. So when you try to train your attention to switch constantly, over here, over there, look, over here, sustaining focus obviously gets much harder. Your brain becomes great at starting, but not great at staying. And this is one reason why people often report brain fog, reduced reading stamina, and difficulty settling into tasks after heavy scrolling. I'm going to give you some evidence-based strategies to use your dopamine well. Good news, you don't need to detox dopamine. You need to work with your brain's learning system. Just take 2 strategies and try them out. If-then plans to beat autopilot. You pre-decide a response in the moment. So, for example, you set yourself an if-then. If I pick up my phone to scroll, then I set a 5-minute timer first. Okay, so you tolerate not scrolling for 5 minutes. Okay. Another if-then one. So I say to myself, if it's after 9:30 p.m, then my phone charges outside my bedroom. So you don't get your phone in your bedroom. That's obviously a very good thing. Or if I feel bored, then I do 10 slow breaths before opening an app. So again, you're regulating your system there. Another one, number 2, is called reward after effort. So you train yourself to delay the reward. The modern pattern is reward first, effort later. We're going to try and turn that around and put effort first, reward after. So 10-minute focus work. Okay. Then reward yourself with 2 minutes intentionally scrolling. 15 minutes doing your admin, sorting out all your paperwork and all your emails, ... Reward then is cup of tea and music. Another example is you go for your walk first, okay, and then treat yourself to a podcast after. It's important to keep these small. Consistency beats intensity for dopamine learning. And can you see how small they are? I think it's really important to keep them nice and small. Okay, so you get the feeling of success. Urge surfing. Urges rise, peak, and pass like waves. Urge surfing trains you to notice an urge without acting on it. You notice this urge to go on your phone. You name it as an urge. You work out where you feel it in your body. Is it in your chest, in your stomach, in your hands, in your jaw? And then breathe slowly for 6 cycles. Breathing in and breathing out 1 cycle. So do that 6 times. And then what you should notice is that the urge will drop even 10% before you decide to do anything next. Okay? So it's just surfing the urge, surfing the wave, it's sometimes called. The next strategy is behavioral activation. So behavioral activation is a CBT approach helped for low mood. We're going to adapt it to a dopamine friendly version. So schedule tiny real life awards so that your body relearns that rewards exist off screen. Okay, so it could be 2 minutes just taking in the daylight as well, short walk, quick tidy of one service, message a friend, have a lovely stretch, and treat yourself to a nice cup of tea. So actually, what can really help your mood is actually you take action. Even if you don't feel like it, you take action. I think there's something quite nice about doing something pleasurable as well. So pick something which is pleasurable, a person that you enjoy communicating with, get a drink, you get more out of it that way. The final strategy is reduce variable reward with friction. So make dopamine traps slightly harder to access. So this isn't willpower. This is more about changing your environment. Simple thing, just turn off any notifications which aren't human, just sort of automatic things that keep bleeping all the time. Take away high trigger apps from your home screen. So do you really need all those apps? Get some of them off, just delete them. Log out after use, so it's harder to access. You can charge your phone outside the bedroom and try to say to yourself or put up a sign, do not disturb while working. And obviously working blocks as well. So say you might do 20 minutes deep focus work, stop, and then 5 minutes reward, your dopamine hit, and keep doing that. So notice your trigger. It could be boredom, anxiety, loneliness, fatigue, or procrastination. And then work out a strategy that you can do to overcome those. So you can take some examples from above and write them down and actually get used to acting on them. Before you choose an exercise, just take time, just think about it for about 2 minutes, write it down and try it just for 2 days. Just try it and see how you get on. Let me know how you get on. I'd really love to hear from you, how you get on. What worked? What hack did you try that worked? Just remember that if your dopamine is being used in the wrong way, these are some signs. Just one more thinking, when you just get into that situation where you just say, just one more, just one more, just one more. Compulsive checking, even if it makes you feel worse. Loss of time, you just lose time in it. Flat mood after being very stimulated. And difficulty settling to slower tasks. So I hope you find that useful. If you actually want to subscribe to the channel, all you have to do is subscribe. I really would appreciate that. And let us know how you're getting on. I'd be really, really, really interested in how you get on. So thank you very much, everyone, and thank you for listening.